This video is going to be an introduction for people who might want to become students. So what we will start with is manifesting. So I also offer manifesting coaching services as well if you don't want to become a student. But if you're going to become a student, you're going to have to understand manifesting your story. So this is how we manifest. We're already doing it. So to manifest with Dharma, we need to understand karma. So today we're going to start with karma. So manifest. You are a hue of a man, the I am. And is it a fest or a feast? Are you festering up something, or are you feasting on what you've already created? So, with karma, we got to talk about dharma, and dharma is the balance of karma. So, when you're manifesting your story, rewriting your history, you've got a plot line, a production, and a character. It's the story of your life. You're the main character. So, your character, you want that character to walk in dharma. So, what's the karma of your character? So, let's start with energy, of course, and intention, your thoughts. So, karma, you need a definition. You need to know what it means to you. So, Buddhism is a religion, and it was developed because Hinduism is a way of life. So unless you are living as a Hindu, you're not truly practicing Hinduism. That's why Buddhism was created. So, with Buddhism, you have myths. You have history. So, the first mention of karma is in the actual introduction. So, a samsara, okay, it's a Sanskrit word, and it means moving on or flowing on. So, the current of life, the flow of life never stops. And you have to have a creed. You have to have a set of beliefs. Some people have that as a religion, and then some people just have their own set of beliefs that's not an actual practice religion. So, your definition of a word, God, is very important. So, my definition is source energy. That's God. It's life. God equals life. And karma is how your human vessel puts your energy and your intention out around you. So, your creed becomes your character. So, your set of beliefs becomes part of your character. And that is your flow. That is how you move through life. And right here, all living things are trapped in samsara. Well, if something's in constant flow when it's trapped in a vortex, even the gods will eventually die and be reborn according to the karma generated in life. So, when you're alive, the flow has to start and end. When you're having a human experience, let's call it a human experience. Because that I, that part of God, everything that's alive. And man means vessel. So how is your vessel? We take gender, we take everything out of it. So your core beliefs, and then how is your vessel? And how do you communicate with your vessel, because your memories are held in your body. Your brain is an organ. What you put out is what goes out. And what comes back in is filtered through your vessel and your aura. Let's call it an aura. Now, your aura is manifesting your story. It's putting it out there. So where is your future? It's where your intentions and your energy for what comes next. You're manifesting it. You're drawing it in. So, you should not chase, you should attract. It's a law of attraction. So, what are you attracting in? Well, what happens to the mind under the state of threat? So, this is a really good book. It's about what the brain reveals about our power to change others. So this is written so that you can understand how your actions impact what's outside and your thoughts. So the influence of stress and the ability to overcome. So what causes stress? Fear. So what are you afraid of? Well, death. Another good book, The Untethered Soul. In this book, it talks about your inner voice, and some people do not have an inner voice. And I really was not aware of that. That's kind of new to me. So, without an inner voice, this, are you truly going to understand the book? Well, I don't know. But one thing, think about the untethered soul, right? So what is our soul? And what's your definition of God? And how does the reincarnation process work? Or do you even believe in reincarnation? So, here's where the student needs to kind of decide whether they want to be a student or not. Because heaven and hell are just experiences. Devil doesn't really exist. So, if your soul is tied into a belief system that your soul has to suffer something after your life here, your life experience here, we're not going to be on the same page when it comes to karma, dharma, or anything else if you don't understand reincarnation or believe in it. Because reincarnation is, there's no hell, heaven, or any of that. Your soul, we don't die. Your soul does go home for a little while because it's kind of like school down here. So, contemplating death. So, something I've done, I've suggested it to other people. Work on this first. Work on your core beliefs, and before you go to bed tonight, write your own obituary. Go ahead and assume that your search history and every secret that you thought you kept will get talked about. And then write what you want in the paper. And have it be your obituary, and assume you're not going to wake up in the morning, because a lot of people don't. So, when you're doing that, vessel. So, you don't get to keep your vessel. It's here for you while you're here. So, the Cabal. So the chakras. There's not just 7, but the 7 are the basic ones. These points in the body here, and then this symbol here. This is rebuilding not your physical vessel, but who you are at your core that keeps your vessel going now. In this teaching, they refer to the ego as the I am, spirit core. I don't agree with that. Your ego is your armor, okay? This is your character. This is who you want to be in life. So, you need armor. You need ego, because there's people that won't have the same truth you have. They won't have the same beliefs you have. You're going to have to be able to conversate with people who have an opposing opinion or an opposing belief. If you want to truly find out what Dharma is, because opposition creates negative energy. So, your character is going to have to conversate. It's going to have to interact, and it's going to have to form relationships. Now, if you're working on yourself, and you're trying to become a different version of yourself, then just thinking about this may just throw you into a dark night of the soul. Because you're really going to have to look at who you are and how you want to show up, because if you start dividing yourself up, so here's your character. So, how does your character show up? Right? And how do you show up? Are you the same exact character every dynamic you go into, right? You've got family, you've got friends, you've got co-workers, so if your family and your friends and your co-workers, their version of you is whatever it'll be. But are you showing up differently for the different people? You have to. You don't mean the same thing, and they don't mean the same to you. So, what kind of dynamic are you in with all of the people that you have relationships with? And is it balanced? Now, without wondering why it's not balanced, think about the people in your life that you have a 10-minute conversation with them and then you have to take a nap. They're not energy vampires. Some people are energy vampires. Some people only want to talk about themselves. When you start talking about yourself, well, they have other things to do that's more important than you. People like that don't have your best interest at heart. And those are associates. So, let's talk about people that you just interact with on a day-to-day basis. Are you showing up for a familiar person? Are you showing up for a friendly person? Or are you showing up with somebody who just kind of looks like they're doing the same kind of thing you're doing? Can you relate to other people? Most of us can. Empaths do it on a level that impacts their vessel more than other people. Empaths are more likely going to be my students. People who are already identifying themselves as light workers. So if you identify yourself as a light worker, I need your help. Your classes are free. I got some catching up to do with the current culture and vernacular. I'm a little too old school. So, how are you showing up, and what kind of dynamic are you in, and what kind of relationship are you building? If you're constantly talking to someone, you're building a relationship. Your vessel is going to tell you things because it's always looking ahead. Your higher self is always looking ahead. It's your best friend. It wants what's best for you. It's how your soul communicates with you. If you get scared, if you get triggered, that is your higher self telling you to just pay attention. You don't have to run and hide and be in fear. Now, what is fear, really? And are you really afraid? Or are you just worried about balancing the dynamic of a relationship and keeping everything calm? Now, if you're an empath and you were raised in a hostile or loud environment, you probably learned how to fawn, right? So there's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. This is why sympathy is the tool of the devil. How much of how you show up is based off of sympathy? Are you doing it out of obligation? Now, what are you obligated to other than you? Because if you're not looking at the future for yourself, who is? If you're leaving it up to some unbalanced dynamic relationships, you're going to go wherever their version of you, they'll have you show up for their version. Empaths will start performing for the people around them. It's how they learn to survive. It's how I learned to survive. Not everybody's like that. So, if you're not an empath, and you don't have an inner voice, how do you notice these things? How do you pick up on them? Again, your higher self, even without that inner voice, the parts of your body are going to tell you. The thing that scares you is what you need to look at. Your nightmares are giving you clues. If it's scary but interesting, or maybe even a little bit exciting, it might be worth the risk to ask the question or find out more. So, is offense given or taken? Well, offense is taken. So, how is your vessel and what is your creed? Now, my suggestion, just a suggestion, the 12-step program, the Alcoholics Anonymous, the process there. Think about it this way. You're addicted to thinking about the future, but you're going to take every experience from the past and make a future fit into what's already happened. Because you do what's familiar and you do what's normal and you don't get out of your comfort zone. Your vessel doesn't like to get out of your comfort zone. do you keep this balanced? How do you show up without disrespecting that future version of you? Because if you're looking into your future, you're constantly working on your character. You're someone who's waking up every day and you're going to set up some practices. So, the first part of becoming a student is practices. It's yoga, it's meditation, and it's setting up a creed. Because most people have not thought of it that way. They were programmed by the caregivers and people around them to survive, as you should do. You can't be angry at your past or anybody in it. It will stop you from moving forward. You can not associate with people from your past. People have to do it all the time. They have to create a new family, find a new place to be. Happens all the time. So, offense is taken, not given. And if you're an empath, you know if you offended somebody, you know if you hurt their feelings. So, once again, the 12 steps starts with just giving over to that higher power, right? So what is that higher power? Everybody's going to have a different definition of it, just like everybody has a different definition of God. So you give yourself over to that higher power, and then you go back and you apologize to everyone you've done wrong. Unless it's going to do more harm than good. Sometimes it does more harm than good. So, you give yourself over to that higher power. And then you attend the meetings. You work on yourself. So, there's 12 steps. And there's 12 aspects of your character. We are multi-dimensional beings. We get to change. Yesterday you doesn't have to be today you. So, these 12 steps, 12 aspects, 12 parts of your ego. You're building back your ego, you're building back your armor. You've got this new version of you, and you're going to protect it. So, that ego, that image, your image, you create your own image that you want everybody else to see. You don't push it onto other people. Because if they don't want to see it, that's negative karma. So, you let people see you. Your ego is just your armor. Now let's talk about triggers. So, once again, I'm old school. If you are grown, I don't know why you would announce your triggers to me. You should be able to handle them. They're not my responsibility. Yeah, your reaction to my words is not my problem. But your auditory, your sensory, if you have to have headphones on, that's not a trigger. That is you knowing what your vessel needs to function properly. So, the triggers. That's your higher self telling you you need to look at something. And that you probably need to do some shadow work. Because that image of you should be able to handle anybody has to say. You should know who you are. You should know that I am that I am. So, the I am that I am, that's your core, not your ego. That's where I disagree with Kabbalistic teachings. That's it. It's good stuff, but there's actually some really good stuff in here about chakras. So, your ego is going to trigger your emotions, and that's going to put out energy into your chakras. So, your chakras, this is another good book, Technology of God. Your chakras are toroidals. They're outside of you. They just meet in your body. So, in the front, in the back, you take up a lot of space. We all do. And your chakras is your higher self helping your vessel not just have armor, but to survive, to heal itself. Just clearing your chakras can help you. So, this is the first part of what being my student will be. Yourself. When you figure out how to work through your shadow work, what the ego armor really is, you can start seeing it in other people, and you'll have better conversations. Conversation is the first part. The human body and this higher self talking to your vessel, you need to know what those parts of your body are telling you. So, another part is being able to heal other people, not just yourself. We have energy and intent. It comes straight back. If we're clear, we can see the density that's there. So, people who study with me, if you already have sight, that's great. If you can already see people's auras, like I say, light workers, it's free. You're going to teach me more than I could ever teach you. So, we'll stop this one right here. Character. And tomorrow we'll do production. We already touched on it. How you act, the words you say, your thoughts. So tomorrow we'll do the production of your character, again touching on how you show up. Thanks a lot for watching. I know I'm probably not the prettiest thing to look at, but if you have any suggestions or there's other things that you would like for me to explain more, please let me know. Put it in the comments, and we'll talk to you guys later.